Tell me when. We ready to rock?
Ready.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Lucas Siegel. I'm from Harbor Life Brokerage, and thanks so much for hopping in. I'm here with my colleague Kevin King. So, Lucas Siegel, I'm the CEO of Harbor Life and the founder, and Kevin King is our account executive that manages most of the elite marketing account. Um, Kevin has been in finance for quite some time. I've started in this business about 15 years ago, and really honored and excited to have everyone here. I see some familiar names, um, see some very familiar names like Diamond and Carol Clover. So happy you guys are here, and happy to actually meet you virtually, even though I've seen your names a million times. Good to actually see you guys. So before we start, we've got two kind of options. I wanted to, this webinar is about you guys. This webinar is about how do we get you guys the most value possible in this short period of time that we have. So we've got two kind of general topics that we can cover, and I wanted you guys to vote on which one you guys are more excited about learning about. And once we do that vote, it's going to guide the rest of the dialogue and the rest of the conversation. So for two topics we have are premium finance loan rescue program is number one, and number two is life settlements. What's going on, the latest about life settlements, and our consumer lapse protection program, which is a program that we host with Elite that you really can't get anywhere else. And I don't think anyone on this call is currently using our consumer lapse protection program right now. So what we're going to do is on the bottom of your guys' screen, there is a raise your hand. If you click onto your Zoom, there's a little raise your hand. So we're going to take a vote. Anyone who's interested in learning primarily about consumer lapse protection program through life settlement and Elite, and what's the latest and greatest going on with life settlements, raise your hand right now. All right, we got 4, and now oh 5, and now next one, premium finance loan rescue programs and restructuring premium finance debt. Ready, go. 1, 2, 2, 3.
3.
Okay, so life settlement 1, but everyone who wants to learn more about premium finance and restructuring, I'm just going to cover it really briefly on this call, and then please set a one-on-one session with Kevin, who's here to service you guys, and we'll train you up on everything you need to know about that, because there's a lot of interesting things going on in that space, and a lot of people need help. So before we dive into life settlements, I'm going to just give a brief overview of our premium finance loan rescue program, just so that you're aware of what's going on, and then we'll dive in. So as most of you know, and I'm sure all of you know, interest rates are rising like crazy. And, they've doubled in the past 6 months. And there's a lot of impact that is happening on premium finance policies, because now collateral calls are going up, and clients that thought that they would be making more money on their policy are now fighting this interest rate arbitrage, and they're struggling with it. So we've got a program. It's the first program in the country that is this type of premium finance loan rescue program that we've rolled out with Elite. And if you guys have any clients that might be underwater on their premium finance policies, or have had a good run with their premium finance and their cash is actually positive net to the loan, but they might not want to pay that interest anymore, and they might want a good way to get out of it and retain a ton of death benefit, hit us up, because we've got a great option for that that's pretty innovative and using new capital source markets. Great. So Before we spend any more time, I'm going to hop into our consumer lapse protection program. Many of you guys are familiar with Harbor Life. We've been working with Elite for a long time, but I'm just going to give you a kind of general overview of what's going on, and then some really cool tricks that can be like an instant user-friendly experience that you guys can start applying to your book of business right now. And that's why one of the reasons why we're so excited to partner with Elite on this. So exemplifying fiduciary excellence. We believe that people have the right to know the value of their life insurance policy and of their assets. And our job is to help families and their fiduciaries make better decisions by using intuitive technology that can help people make smarter financial choices. Some quick statistics. 57% of retirees have an active life insurance policy, but nearly 87% of all life insurance policies are lapsed or surrendered. That's kind of a horrific, tragic statistic. As someone who has sold life insurance before, it makes it harder to sell life insurance when 87% of people don't actually get the coverage once they've passed. And what we do is we focus on how to get families liquidity out of life insurance policies in the most effective way that can make them and save them the most amount of money. So how do we do that? We've got a consumer lapse protection program, and this is something that we've rolled out with Elite. And I'm going quickly because we've only got 30 minutes. Elite put the hard clock on me. But this is our consumer lapse protection program. And the reason why we call it that is because when many people think of life settlements, they think of like a pushy, kind of annoying, scummy looking guy that might live in like Florida or Nevada that's like just trying to get you to sell your clients' policies. And that's not how we operate, and that's not who we are. We've built this program around life settlements to really be a protection mechanism for clients not losing the assets that they've spent their entire lives trying to build. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a little bit about what it looks like. When you say consumer lapse protection program, like what the heck are you talking about? This is an example of what we're talking about. So we've worked with Elite, with extensive work with Elite on reviewing the data and making sure that all of the producers that submit through Elite, pulling up their data so that if anyone wants to, they can get an audit of their entire book of business that they've written with Elite. And this is what we do with that audit. We've got artificial intelligence that does over 15,000 computations on every single policy, and it predicts what the value of that policy would be. So with that, what we do typically with producers, and if you guys you're with Elite, you get this as a free service with Elite. Please sign up for it because it can make a world of difference for your clients and for your own income. We run their policies. We run people's policies, their entire books through this tool. And what it does is it puts people into a couple different brackets. So this bracket is the ideal settlement opportunity bracket. And this means that there's low cash surrender value, which means the cash surrender value is less than 5% of the death benefit. And that if the person was moderately impaired, we think it would price very well. So we're predicting the price. So it's a good opportunity because there's low cash value and there's high upside. So we know that if they surrendered the policy or lapse the policy because of this low CSV, it would be a disaster for the family because there's arbitrage in settling it versus surrendering it. The next one is, we call it the pure play arbitrage opportunity. This means that the settlement value likely exceeds the cash surrender value. But if the cash surrender value is high, it's not a, oh my gosh, they're going to lapse it 911 emergency. It's just something that the family might want to consider because we think that there's a high probability that this policy is worth way more than the cash surrender value if they ever chose to settle it. And then the third one, this doesn't really benefit us at all. This is meant to help benefit you. We just identify cases in your book that have low CSV, under 5%. And these are the ones that are at risk but won't work for a settlement, but are worth you guys kind of looking at. And then these are all just good conditions policies. So I'm gonna go back to this slideshow. How am I doing on time? Doing pretty decent. In short, life settlements is a way for someone to sell their life insurance policy to a third-party investor. Many of these investors are mega big funds. You know, we're talking like the Berkshire Hathaways, the Apollos of the world. And then they give up that life settlement, that death benefit, but they get a lump sum payment up front. I'm going to skip over some of this because this is a super articulate group that knows a lot about life settlements. But it creates more cash on hand to pay medical bills, reduce monthly expenses, retirement, and peace of mind. So eligibility, this is something that we get questions on all the time. Now, the latest and greatest of what's going on in the settlement world, we're still experiencing what we would call an oversupply of money and an undersupply of policies, which is good for sellers. And with that, there's been some funds that have gotten really creative with their asset allocations. So sometimes policies that wouldn't have worked 6 years ago are working now. For example, we just sold on our auction a policy with a 31-year life expectancy. Now, I'm not telling you that to submit 31-year life expectancy policies. The only reason why it worked is because it was really good paper. Premium to face ratio was super low, and the face amount was super high. But it's good that people have gotten a bit more creative. So in general, what works for a settlement is 70 and up, with a policy of $50,000 or more. Now, that being said, if someone has serious medical impairments, they can be under 70. And term conversions. We do a lot of term conversion work. I'll show you some examples of what that is. We've got an in-house case designer that works hand in hand with Elite to try and maximize what we can do. And with our auction, we've sold cases that in the past never would have been sold. And that gets good term conversions, and that makes everyone happy. Now, it says here $50,000 plus. You should really not be submitting policies that are even close to 50,000. One of the issues and one of the biggest pain in the rears with settlements is that a $50,000 policy where you can make $4,000 takes as much work as a $50 million policy. So you really want to be going higher face, because that's where it's going to create meaningful income for you guys, and meaningful output for us as well. let me just give a brief overview about the market. So these are the people that represent the insured. You've got the insured, you've got their producer, many of you on this call, and then you've got a broker, which is technically us. On the other side, you've got the people representing the investors, which is the investor, the fund, and the provider. The provider is really kind of like, if you think about this transaction, think about the provider as a in a real estate deal, you've got an agent that represents the seller and an agent that represents the buyer. A provider is really like an agent that represents the buyer. Now, some of them kind of play as if they're representing the insured, but they're not. They're absolutely representing the fund and the investors. So you got to be careful. Now, how these settlement jobs work, and you guys I'm sure have seen this. There's one way, which is called we call it the low information arbitrage approach, which is where an investor that is a provider tries to get the policy directly from the insured or directly from the agent. And they many times say that there's quote unquote no fee. We were actually working with someone in Elite that was working with a direct buyer, and they had a $90,000 bid on a policy, and someone else in Elite was like, hey, go talk to Harbor and let's see what they can do for that. So that direct buyer is saying, oh, we have no bid on our policy. We have no fees on our cases. So you're going to get a better deal. They offered him $90,000. We listed it on the platform and we got $300,000. So this group is kind of like the We Buy Ugly Houses people. Good business model. It's just not how I would want my clients treated. So then you've got the other model, which is a broker. Typically, brokers have to go to at least 3 providers to say that they've shopped the policy. Okay. The final thing, and one of the things that makes us different and why we've got this partnership with Elite, is we've built the world's first online exchange with pretty much every institutional buyer in the world in one place. So we're not going to 3 providers. We're going to 19 providers. And we're not going to 3 providers. We're going to like 130 funds represented all in one place. And what that does is it drives the hell out of competition, which is really fun to watch. Last week we had a case that got 55 bids on a single policy. The family wanted 200,000. We ended up getting them 500,000. So I can't wait to start doing business with all you guys, because once you get these things on the auction, a good case really flies and it's fun to watch. We've gotten some pushback from people that are like, we don't want to do settlements because carriers don't like settlements. Here's the sneaky truth. Have you ever had someone tell you not to do something and then you turn around and they just did it themselves? Does that feel good? No. It's the most annoying thing in the world. One of the most annoying things in the world. Carriers are quietly doing settlements right now. And the only difference, so this is what John Hancock sends out to some of their policyholders. We would like to offer you an option that might better align with your current financial needs. Like many of our customers, you purchase your life insurance policy with a specific goal in mind. What fit your needs and met your goals at that time may no longer work for you. They're offering people buyouts of their policies. They are doing life settlements. The only difference is that there's no price discovery for the insured. There is zero transparency. The producers are completely cut out of any commission, And now I've got to update this. 7 states have officially gone out against it. So if someone is doing this to protect the carriers, just know the carriers are doing this without protecting you. How does the commission split work with you? Good question. Um, the we work with Elite, so the commission split is run through Elite. Um, that's that's how it works. We take a small piece of it, and then the rest is just between you and Elite marketing. So you would talk to your rep, or you would talk to Dur directly, and set that piece. I know that's kind of an annoying answer, Diamond. So, but I can't answer it because I'm not Dur, but Dur runs all comp through this program. Um, so in exchange for giving us the data and being able to do these reviews with their producers. Um, the other thing to note is that our auction is getting, on average, 50% higher bids than the rest of the market. Average of the life settlement market's about 22% of face. Our average is 32.8. So we're getting 50% higher bids on this auction, which makes a radical difference in compensation because you can take more and more and more comp because you're doing better and better and better for your clients. Um, we've got a full back office team that is your back office team. We get the medical records, we get the life expectancies, we have got beautiful pricing reports, and you've basically got 24/7 service for whatever you need. Give some examples, and I know I'm going quickly, but I've only got 6 minutes. um, so some examples are survivorship, universal life. Her husband had passed and she didn't want to have to pay $180,000 in premiums to keep this thing in force. We got her 815 grand to walk away. Um, this is a very similar story. I'm just going to skip that one. This is a pretty cool one. So with term conversions, we take a small fee on the term conversions. We're typically on the app for examples just like this. Um, here's a $20 million policy that we sold. The guy was 65 years old. He had a 260, it says significantly impaired, but he's not significantly impaired. He had a 268-month life expectancy. That is a long life expectancy. Convertible term. We sold it. And the producer was like, there's no way you're going to be able to sell this thing. He's like, I've been doing settlements for 10 years and there's no way you're going to be able to sell it. We listed it on the auction. We sold it, got an awesome $500,000 offer. The conversion fee that we split up was $900,000. And the client walked away with a total win. And final example is settlements aren't for everyone. And it's missing a zero, but settlements aren't for everyone. And this is an example of a client that had MS and he wanted to sell his policy because he needed some money for care. And we reviewed the policy and saw that he had a living benefit rider. And we actually worked with him to get that living benefit rider activated. And he got a much better deal than if he would have sold it. We didn't make any money on the case, but it's about doing the right thing. And sometimes that means you don't get paid. If that's our case, we're okay with it if we're doing right on your guys' clients. Cool tool that is, we've got artificial intelligence that I've kind of already mentioned, and it's like the WinFlex of life settlements. that is available to you guys at any time. If you want to just do instant quotes. This is another thing that we do that's kind of different. So every single case that you guys run through us will get an offer letter, a professional offer letter that shows the bid history, where it started, where it ended, net to client. You can see an auditable bid history by the second. You talk about E&O coverage and CYA. This is incredible because you're not only showing, yeah, I sent this out to the entire market, but I did my fiduciary duty and represented my client, and I have a serious paper trail to show it. It's a really good document for everyone else. So you get this included in every single deal you do with Harbor. We also have really dynamic pricing models. So I'll show you. This is an example of a case. So anytime you submit a case, we do initial pricing on it. You guys get that pricing for free. Some settlement firms charge you to price it out and do valuations. We don't. So this is an example of a case where the median LE was 213 months at but you can change it. So we'll say that this is a 600% mortality factor. Boom. Now this case, if this person was this sick at 105 months, it'd be worth 136 grand. And we actually break out the analysis right here to see, should they keep it, should they sell it, should they surrender it. Pretty great stuff. All of that is included when you work with us. So the question I have here is, do you have a client that has missed premium payments or their CSV is running low? Have you met with us to do a consumer lapse protection audit? Because if you're working with Elite, you get this for free. And we will do the analysis for you every 6 months, and you're just covered. It's easy. Do you have a client that needs liquidity or could benefit from selling some assets for a better quality of life? And, you know, a lot of people also, their kids are covered. Their kids are wealthy. They don't need to keep paying those premiums. We'll do the initial analysis for you. Here's Kevin King. He's an account executive with us, and please put down his number. And I would love to know if there's any other questions before Kevin does his introduction. Any questions? I just filled in all the gaps, huh?
Definitely. Thank you for that, Lucas. And thank you again to Elite Marketing Group for having us here today and for all of you to attending. The colors of Harbor Life's logo are red, white, and blue for a reason. They represent our core values of progression, support, togetherness, fiduciary excellence, and doing what's right even when no one else is looking. These values are more important than today in this world. The traditional financial services model is broken. It relies on backroom deals and consumer ignorance. It leaves families vulnerable and asset protection products out of reach. Harbor Life, we're different. We're committed to fiduciary excellence. We put our clients first. We fight for your interests. We help them build a better future for themselves and their families. We're also committed to disrupting traditional financial services model. We're using technology, as Lucas showed you, to make financial services more inclusive, accessible, and transparent. And together we're educating the consumers about their financial options, and we're empowering them to make informed decisions. So today we're asking you to join us on this journey. We're asking you to be a part of the change and to help financial services work for everyone, evolve the life settlement space, and fight the travesty of over $200 billion lapsing or surrendering each year. We're asking you to help share the opportunity. Austin and myself will be reaching out to everyone individually to ask for submissions and referral opportunities. We know you all have a wealth of knowledge and experience, and we would love to tap in that to grow our business together. As Lucas mentioned, we get our clients 50% more than the industry standard, so we can both benefit from working together, and we'll also take care of the heavy lifting for our producers, including obtaining medical records, HIPAA compliance, ordering documents, and communicating with the insured when permitted. This frees up time so you can focus on what you do best, helping your clients achieve their financial goals. So together, we can create a better financial future for our families, our communities, our colleagues, and our country. We will be using this momentum to make a difference. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm going to shoot over a Calendly link to everyone in the chat. Please take some time, just schedule a quick meeting with Kevin. We want to get to know your guys' business. We want to see where the holes are, see where we can improve it, and see how we can help if we can. Our goal is servant leadership. So we serve you guys in any way that we can. And please click this link and book some time with Kevin so we can get to see how we can make a big dent in your business this year and maybe add a zero. So awesome.
Awesome. And if you
Thank you guys.
if you see me guys reaching out, I'm looking forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thank you.